All right, guys, we got the recap of the League of Superheroes semifinals. We got the first matchup between Kaleem and Fawad. Now, shockingly, Fawad goes down. He had 101, not much, but he probably would have beat almost any other team last week. Um, Not great. I mean, Gurley still got him 29. I believe he needed 33 out of Gurley going into Sunday night, and he got 29. And it realistically, like, Gurley went out for, like, I would say, like, a possession or, yeah, like, for, I think for a drive at least. And, I think there's a possibility if he didn't get hurt, he might have actually gotten the 33. I mean, it's hard to say, but and Kaleem did this with his top wide receiver Keenan Allen getting hurt and scoring absolutely nothing. Um, and with Saquon being held, I think by far his worst game of the year. Um, so impressive win by Kaleem. Now let's take a look at Fawad. This game is pretty close. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. I mean, if he started Tevin Coleman over one of his tight ends or James White, he would have won. Now Coleman has been very up and down. Yeah, look at that. I mean, he didn't even have 20 points in his last three games combined. So very hard to say that he should have started Coleman, um, especially with his two tight ends being pretty good this year. I mean, Ebron, that hasn't happened at all this year. That 1.3, I mean, that's pretty shitty. And Kittle, I mean, this is his worst game by far in about. Well, I mean, he only had 8 against Tampa, um, but he's been pretty consistent as well. And just really bad luck, I would say, for Fawad. James White has, for some reason, been kind of phased out of the New England offense. I mean, I remember trying to trade for him. I'm kind of happy I didn't. I don't know. Probably would have made a difference anyway. But yeah, not. I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, the whole Patriots offense is kind of a mess. Um, and Khalim basically carried by his kicker, 22 points by Fairbairn, and that really was the difference. I know Mixon had 26, but once you get 22 points out of your kicker, I mean, you can kind of afford to put up a zero with a wide receiver. Um, so very, I mean, Khalim, he didn't even have that good of a game. I mean, he's had a lot better games than this, and he still won. I mean, tough luck for Fawad. He was the number one seed the entire year, but yeah, I mean that's kind of it. I don't see anything else. And you got Kaleem coming down on one side. Good season by Fawad, 11-2, had the first round bye. Just unfortunate. His team kind of crapped out on him on the end. Um, we got Yates on the other hand, a 10-3 team, second team. I mean, considered by some people the best team in the league. He only scored a 96 in the semifinal game. Um, and AK bounces back from his. I'm not well. I mean, he only had 81 points. I guess you could consider it a bounce back, even though he still won. Kamara, Devontae Adams, Marlon Mack was a very good start by him. Um, Very good start by him, even over someone like Calvin Ridley, who's been starting the entire year essentially. Just kind of consistent off the board. I mean, he scored 121 with Breeze only scoring 6 points. So very good game by him. Um, Yates was obviously hurt by the Gordon injury. That sucks. No way around that. Even though the person he basically replaced Gordon with did have 23 points. So that's basically a Gordon-like production right there. A lot of it was just his, Ingram only had 8, Amari Cooper. I mean, his two wide receivers only had about 19 points combined, and when you go up against a team in the playoffs that scores 121, you need a lot more than that. He gets nothing out of his kicker or his defense or his tight end. So when that happens, you basically need a heroic effort out of either McCaffrey, who still had a solid game with 22, or Mahomes, who still had 18. But I mean, we've seen him put up mid 30s consistently, and he needed a couple heroic performances, but he just did not get it. Cooper fell back down to earth after a 44-point week. I think I was talking about this last week. I mean, he did have that huge week against Philadelphia, but you just never know. I mean, he's kind of been up and down. I mean, he's had 34, then 9, then 44, then 6. So it sucks for him because against Tampa Bay, he's probably going to have another 30-point week. But he just wasn't able to make it through this matchup. Um, if he started Baldwin over any of his wide receivers, it wouldn't have made a difference. He still would have lost. Um, yeah, I don't see anything else he could have done. I mean, Rams defense against at home versus Philly. I mean, you would have thought going into that would have been a really good matchup for them. But the Rams have some issues. I mean, I was watching that game. There is some stuff going on that they got to fix before the playoffs start, which only is 3 weeks. Very very good game by AK. Falcons defense at home versus Arizona. That was a big difference maker. It gets 22 points out of his defense and only 0 from Yates. And Adams and Cooks did enough at the wide receiver position. Just he was kind of had like a consistent team all around, except for his quarterback and tight end, former teammates Brees and Graham. So now we have the championship matchup with Khalim and AK, the fifth and the. Actually, I think the this is a little messed up, but I think it's essentially I think AK was the 3rd seed, and Khalim was the 4th or the 5th. I forget which one he was. Now let's take a look at the matchups. Now everything's going to change obviously because the defenses they might change. Even though Broncos at Raiders, I guess he's going to start, and Chargers at home versus Baltimore, AK might change that. Luckily for AK, a lot of his players are at home, which I always like when they're at home. Especially Breeze and Kamara in the dome. They haven't really done. I mean, Kamara's done pretty well, but Breeze has not done much the last 3 weeks. It seems like the Saints are kind of due for one of those games where they put up like 45, and that could be good for AK, especially with against Pittsburgh. That's going to be a fast-paced game. Chubb at home versus Cincinnati is a great matchup for him as well. Devontae Adams against the Jets, who the Jets just gave up about like 35 points to Hopkins. Cooks in Arizona, basically going to be like a home game for them. And then you got Marlon Mack at home versus the Giants. I mean, AK has very good matchups this week. And this against Khalim, who Khalim has been kind of starting Josh Allen, I think, the last couple of weeks, and it's been really working well. But he's playing in New England, and it's hard to trust a rookie quarterback in New England, especially when they need that game badly. But he still has Barkley and Mixon in relatively good matchups, I would say. Especially Barkley. I don't know about Mixon in Cleveland, but he is kind of been matchup proof almost. I mean, he's been pretty. Every time he's played, he's been quietly a really good running back this year. Hopefully, Khalim gets Keenan Allen back from injury. That would be a huge help. And he has Lindsey in Oakland. Very good matchup for him as well. Both of their tight ends are kind of non-factors. Yeah, I mean, Graham is somehow like the 11th ranked tight end. I have no idea how. I think tight ends have been just complete ass this year. It's really been a crapshoot with tight ends. Makes me rethink my strategy for next year. Maybe I might draft a high one. I always go late, but tight ends have been really shit this year. So that's kind of the preview. I want to see if there's anything else. I'm going to take a look at each individual team, see if there's any bench options. Kaleem has usually been starting Aaron Jones. He's been hurt, and I think he's going to be out for the rest of the year. I think that's what I read. There's really no point of playing him if you're Green Bay. And we have AK's team. Which one is he? I think this is his team. Yeah. Really, no other options. I think this is where you're going to see your starting lineups as. I think they're going to be set unless they make a change at kicker or defense. Um, AK may make a change at tight end though. He really does not like Jimmy Graham. So that's your recap. So next week I'm gonna do a recap on the championship game, and also I'm gonna take a look back at the draft recap of like good picks and bad picks. So that's gonna be interesting. Spoiler alert: I mean, Le'Veon Bell probably the best pick of the year. I mean, we're gonna take a look at that, see how great he was for my team this year. So we're gonna go over that as well, and I'll also congratulate the winner, either Kaleem or AK. So good luck to both, and congratulations to Yates and Fawad on very good years. Just unfortunately, did not work out for them in the playoffs. Fantasy football can be cruel sometimes, and it was to them this week for sure. But good years by them. All right, and hope everyone else has a great week, and I'll see you on the next video.